And City Power has warned that its utility is under severe strain due to torrential rainfall over the last couple of days, as many residents in Johannesburg have been left without electricity. For an update, we're now joined by City Power spokesperson Isaac Mangena. Isaac, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. What is the status of the restoration efforts that have been undertaken by City Power technicians across Johannesburg?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Thanks for having us. I think the picture was not really good in the past few days, especially in the when the weekend started on Friday, because of some of the outages that we had, the major outages that we had from several parts of the city, with the high number of those calls basically from customers coming from areas such as Roodepoort, Inner City, Randburg, and even Hest Hill. But we managed to basically get our teams together, move others from some of the depots that were not really under that too much pressure to those that were really suffering, so that we can be able to start dealing with these issues. So as I'm talking to you now, we have really managed to move the needle, and I think we are really happy about some of the progress that we have made. For example, when we were talking yesterday, we were sitting at almost 3,500 outage calls that were coming from different parts of the city with those three areas mentioned. But currently, as I'm talking to you, we are sitting at almost about 3,000 outage calls, and we have managed to restore most of the areas that were problematic. Areas such as the outages that were affected by Roosevelt Park, substation, North Cliff distributor, and even Linden distributor. We managed to restore some of those customers, and the residents in that part of town will basically have dinner at home this evening. And then Roodepoort also, we had about yesterday about 4 medium voltage outages from substations such as Florine switching station in Rainsec as well, and also 2 from mechanical station. And at close of business, we had managed to restore at least 3 of those outages, and the last one was basically restored this evening as I'm talking to you. We are only having one that is active now, that is affecting Velkley and also Storm Hill, and our teams are basically currently busy making sure that they deal with those. In the inner city, you remember that it was triggered by that theft in our underground cables tunnels, where we basically lost most of them. But we managed to basically deal with most of that. The only problem that we had over and above the flooding of the tunnels by the weather, we also had issues with access because of most of our infrastructure is housed within the businesses or passing through the businesses, and we couldn't get through in terms of access to get through to basically be able to test some of those equipment so that we can restore. But I think we are sitting nicely by this evening as I'm talking to you with most of the areas restored.
Yeah, just for the benefit of clarity, Isaac, can you list for me the areas which are not yet restored across Johannesburg?
So the areas that are not yet restored within Johannesburg, I'll start with the inner city, where we were sitting with 671 outage calls. We're still having some parts of central substation, especially those that are affecting Cleveland, and even some parts of Western CBD, where we're still struggling with finalizing the repairs. But the team has told us that they should be able to restore supply at least by 9 this evening. And then we're still also having outages in Tshepisong, that is under Roodepoort, where we're sitting at 709 outage calls. Tshepisong line A and D was lost, and we managed to basically bring it back. Actually, before I came on air, we managed to bring those back from Roodepoort, and as I'm talking to you, Roodepoort is sitting comfortably with minor outages. And also in Hest Hill, this is the area that includes Roosevelt Park, Linden South Distributor. The team has managed to basically restore supply as well there. But there are still certain streets that are still out, and we're left with 2 outages out of the 5 that we had from Hest Hill. And the team is basically working to ensure that we basically restore some of those. But also remember that when we've got a prolonged outage, what normally happens is that we then, after restoring, only peak localized outages, and we may not be able to see them ourselves from our control room.
Yeah.
And we urge residents who are still off, even after we said we've restored, to basically make us aware, lock those calls, so that we can be able to send the technicians through.
Yeah, just two more questions, Isaac. What is the status that the City Power is looking at in going into the week, given very specifically that a lot of the outages were caused by inclement weather? There's a level 5 warning for rainfall in Gauteng, Johannesburg included in that over the next couple of days. That means there will be continuous rainfall, perhaps even flooding in some parts. That could once again affect the system. Is there any contingencies in place?
Yes, indeed. We are basically looking into the early days of the week with anticipation that there will be a much increase in the demand for electricity, especially because most of the people that were on holiday now are coming back to Johannesburg. And then you also have those businesses that had closed for holidays. Most of them will start operating from tomorrow. And that is why we basically, as City Power, made sure that we bring back some of the teams that were also on holiday, on leave, bring them in here. Like I said, from Thursday, Friday, we had already started bringing most of those teams to work, so that we can be able to deal with some of the backlogs going into this new week. But also, as you rightfully pointed out, the inclement weather that has been announced by the South African Weather Services is obviously going to affect some of our operations, because of when it is raining, it is not easy to basically deal with some of the fault finding mission, but also even digging the trenches so that we can lay and repair the cables. Most of those trenches get flooded, but when the rain has also storms mixed in, that you find that trees are basically barricading some of the roads where our trucks are supposed to go through. But we've got the teams. We have also spoken to some of our colleagues in the city of Johannesburg, who are responsible for cutting off the trees, but also moving traffic around and so forth, to be able to assist us whenever there are any issues. But we've got teams ready, basically, to make sure that we deal with all those sore points starting from Monday.
Thank you very much for that. Really do appreciate it. That was Isaac Mangena, spokesperson for City Power in Johannesburg.